Hi there, everyone. Today I want to share the story of how I wrote my second book. So, Blogger to Author is this book, and how I wrote this as a stay-at-home mom with an infant, with no childcare, no relatives near me, essentially just me and my husband, and really how I got all of that done while still working from home and doing a lot of other services. So first, hi, I am Dr. Beth Brombos of Blogger to Author. I'm a #1 Amazon bestselling author and the author of 4 books that are now in print. And I'm really passionate about helping people and helping make it easy for you to self-publish your book so that you can get it out there and build authority and credibility with your book so that you can become seen as a thought leader and an expert in your niche, and so that you can reach a wider audience as well and help more people with your book and your message. So to back this story up, so my daughter is now almost 2 years old, and when I was pregnant with her, I started to write my book, my first book was a different book. I started to write this book, Blogger to Author, when I was in the middle of my pregnancy. So about the time my second semester rolled around and I felt like actually doing something other than just feeling sick and laying on the couch all day. So I worked on it a little bit, but we moved across the country right before my 3rd trimester and just had a lot of other stuff going on. And to be quite honest, I started to prioritize my client work over prioritizing stuff for my own business. And I'm not saying if that was necessarily a bad decision or a good decision, no judgment here at this point, but I just want to make the note that I did consciously make that decision. And so my book went unwritten for almost a year until finally, I started it was 2017 when my daughter was a couple of months old. I started writing quarterly goals. And this is something that I continue to really do, especially after taking part in Todd Herman's 90-day year program. But essentially what those quarterly goals allowed me to do is it gave me enough space on my calendar to get big projects like my book written and done. And so that's exactly what I did in 2017 Q2. I set my goal to finish the book and get it done, and I'm sure that there are some of you who are sitting there and thinking the same thing, or that you've been working on a book for a while. Maybe you've had a couple of chapters written, but maybe you have an outline too. And the thing is, you never really get to finishing your book, and you want to be one of those people who finishes things and who SD without to swear, without throwing in some foul language there. So really, again, setting that quarterly goal really helped me. But then what I had to do is sit down, first and foremost, and make that mental shift and that decision that my book had to be a priority, and that I had to not constantly give my best self and my best effort to my client work. Not that I did poor client work, but I had to sit down and say, okay, this morning in my power hour, instead of doing client work during that hour, I need to sit down and work on my book for that hour. And so part of it was a little bit of shifting how I was spending my time and making sure that my book really was a priority and that I wasn't constantly putting everything else ahead of that. And so one big tip, if you really want to work and finish your book when you're really busy, whether you have an infant at home or not, you really do need to make it a priority. And so really what I did to overcome this and get my book written when I did have an infant at home, she was around 6 months old when I published my book. I was still breastfeeding, doing all this stuff. She wasn't in childcare. So essentially, having a baby to take care of full time played a lot into this. But if you're just busy otherwise, if you have a full-time job and you're trying to finish the book on the side, that sort of thing, these tips will also apply to you too. Anyway, so make sure your book is a priority, and then also figure out what's standing in your way while you don't have the time, and figure out ways around it. So in this example with the baby, what I had to do is negotiate with my husband, not in a bad way, but I just had to sit down and say, hey, I really need to get this done. And I just needed to voice the fact that I needed him to help out more with the baby during certain times. And then I would just negotiate that with him and say, okay, I'm going to go on Saturday morning to the coffee shop from 6 to 9 a.m. and I'm going to work on my book then. There's milk in the fridge. Take care of her so that I can go do my stuff. And so again, it wasn't necessarily difficult or arduous. I just needed to carve out time in my schedule for me to prioritize writing my book. And so you might need to do the same thing. Again, whether you have an infant at home that you're taking care of or whether you've got other stuff going on in your life that's keeping you really busy. So what I did, again, made it a priority, both and, really putting it at the top of my to-do list, making that big goal. I chose a launch date, which made it a big difference for me too, just having that date in mind and knowing that I just needed to get this done and get it out there. And so all of that together really came together and allowed me to publish Blogger to Author and get this book out into the world at the very end of June in 2017. So the end of Q2, just like I had planned. So yeah, really that's what I did. My other books have gone together pretty quickly within the span of a couple of months, say, definitely within a quarter, if not faster. This book, aside from little books that I've sort of dabbled in a little bit but didn't really follow through on, Blogger to Author is definitely the book that took me the longest to finish, especially openly intending to finish it but not having actually finished it. And so it's something that, again, I hope that you can use as an example when you are trying to figure out how you're going to finish your book, especially if you are really busy. So I hope this was inspiring. If you need extra help planning your book, and having that plan is going to make it a lot faster as well, you can check that, you can get my 5-step guide to creating your first book at bloggertoauthor.com/download. You can get it there. I am going to head out, but good luck prioritizing and finding time to write. And until next time, happy writing. See you later.